Hello and welcome to the Adult Gymnastics Podcast, the only podcast dedicated 100% to you, the incredible adult gymnasts all over the world. We have a very special show today, as all our shows are. We have Ilana Cohen from California, now studying in Pennsylvania. She joined gymnastics at the age of 22, has already fallen in love and done her first competition. She is loving how gymnastics requires you to break down skills, break down those fears, and she's applying that to her everyday life. And currently, while she's studying for her master's degree, applying the skills she's learning in gymnastics to life and to her studies. Ilana, thank you very much for being here. We are thrilled to have you. Let's hear your story. Tell us
Thanks so much for
what,
having me. Yeah.
yes. Tell us what got you into gymnastics. What is the story?
Yeah, so I feel like for as long as I can remember, I always loved like being upside down, running around, trying to do random tumbling tricks. I remember when I was younger, I always used to watch gymnastics and say that was something that I wanted to do. But when I was younger, it just wasn't something that was feasible for my family. I wasn't really involved in sports or anything. So I really did what I could. I would run around on the grass and teach myself how to do walkovers. I was working on side aerials and was kind of just throwing myself into things and seeing what worked, which maybe wasn't the safest option, but I managed to get a couple skills along the way and I didn't break any bones or anything, luckily. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so it was something that really always just stuck out to me, but I wasn't really able to pursue it until I got a little bit older.
That's a classic. We hear that story. It's so many times. It's like um people like yourself and they watch it on TV and they see the Olympics,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, which there are many reasons, they're just not able to do it. And so it's such a classic story, and it's even more beautiful, more amazing, the fact that you like took control and be like, hey, I'm an adult now. I
Yeah.
can do whatever I want, and like I can find a gym club and do it. So did you know about adult gymnastics? Like, how did you find out like that you could do it?
Yeah, so I think when I was in college, I went to a drop-in open gym class with one of my friends from a dance group that I was in college. And this is when I was living in New York, so it was like $40 a class, and it didn't really feel feasible for me at the
That's one of
time.
the highest I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Great gym, only good things to say, but yeah, didn't really wasn't the right time. And then when I moved after college, um, I don't think I knew really of any gymnastics classes for adults. It wasn't really something that I had really heard of besides like drop-in open gym classes, which don't provide like as much structure
Right.
or teaching.
Right.
Um, but I think I was watching the Olympics and this like childhood dream came back to me and I was like, I have to figure out how to make this happen. So I started frantically Googling. I was like, adult gymnastics classes in my area.
Love it.
And there were some that came up and I think everyone had the same idea that I did because they were they were sold out for a couple of months. But I put myself on the email list or whatever, and I ended up in their beginner class for a bit and then their intermediate class a little bit after that.
Beautiful. Wow. Good for you. Good for you. I could just picture you like watching the Olympics and then like Googling like, yeah,
Like,
I love that.
gyms near me, please.
Yes, yes, I love that. I wonder how many, how many, what would be the statistic on Google of like, searches like gymnast or
Yeah.
like gymnast near
Watching
me,
Simone Biles, like,
near you,
immediately.
you know? Yeah. Wonderful. Well, tell us, one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you was how you mentioned that you start to learn that gymnastics requires you to, of course, confront your fears first
Yeah.
of all, and then break those skills down and kind of step by step kind of conquer those fears, and
Mhm.
how you've been able to take that lesson and apply that to your daily life now,
Mhm.
and maybe your studies and everything that you're doing today in your life.
Yeah, I think that was, like, such an exciting part of starting to take gymnastics classes for me. I mentioned that when I was younger, I would try to do different skills, and I had, varying degrees of success. But actually learning them, like, step by step, and having instructors set up different, what are they called? Like, the
Like
different rounds
stations or
of
drills or
yeah,
yeah.
stations with different drills, where, maybe they'll show you a skill and it um, looks impossible for you at the time. Um, but they show you sort of how you build up the strength to get there, different things you can work on. And something that I thought was really cool also was you're not just working on a skill that you might be able to do next month. You are doing drills for skills that you might be able to do 2 years from now. Um, and so some of the people in my class would look at skills for, drills for a kip or something, and they'd say,
Yeah.
"Oh, why are we doing this? I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
able to get kip." But the idea is, you do these early on, and, even if right now you're working on, a level 1 skill, that doesn't mean you can't do drills for a skill that's gonna be farther down the line, and I think that was
Yeah.
also a really good lesson for me. Like, um you can work on your short-term goals while you're working on your long-term goals. You can
Yes. Yes. I love
Yeah.
that. Absolutely. Yes. And there are definitely ways in gymnastics to, work on those harder skills,
Mhm.
focusing on like the strength aspect and the
Mhm.
flexibility aspect, not necessarily doing the skill, but gaining the strength and the flexibility and the body control and awareness with those simple drills. Yeah, I love that. That is it's like building the foundation, right? For
Yeah, it's like a long-term investment in yourself almost. It's being
yes, I
able
love that.
to see
I love
that in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, that is really good. That's good. And so, do you have any specific skills that you can think of that were like scary to learn, that you had to kind of like really break them down, and then you were able to do them, and then you kind of like everything kind of clicked and you're like, "Oh, yeah, okay, this is how it's done in gymnastics. I'm going to like apply this, in the real world."
Yeah, I think, my, working on side aerials was something that I had a little bit of a mental block. There was a long time where I I just kept putting my hand down, and everyone would look at me and they said, "You don't need that hand." I had such a supportive class. Everyone was so lovely and, was always cheering me on, but at a certain point, they were, like, frustrated, like, You don't need it, like, stop putting your hand down." But, yeah, it was a little bit of, like, fear of that mental block, of, you know, doing something where your hands aren't on the ground.
Of course.
But I think doing different drills, you do, something elevated, you do something, with a spotter, you work on, getting that kick over, like, doing all those drills, um, I think really built up my confidence in my ability to do it. So then when I eventually was able to do the skill, it was, like, so satisfying, because it was a lot of hard work that I'd put into it. I
Yeah.
think similarly with honestly anything on the beam, because you really start with, like, baby steps.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you remember the first time that you did it, like that you made it, the side aerial?
yeah, I think I got a little round of applause from a couple of the
Yeah, did you shout for joy? Or were
yeah,
you
I
like,
was jumping up and
"Woohoo!"
down.
Really?
Everyone
Oh,
was excited
we
for
should
me.
insert clip of insert clip of that. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that maybe. Yeah, send us a clip. That is awesome. That makes me think of the concept of winning daily. So, you know, you have a goal. It can be very daunting, very overwhelming to think where you are, where you want to get to, and how far you have to go. But if you think about it as winning every single day, small wins,
Yeah, small goals, small
it
wins.
builds the confidence. All of a sudden, you're like, wow, you know, it's not jumping from here to here. It's, those small progressions, and it's just confidence, I think, is such an important key, and the only way to build confidence is to recognize those daily wins. So like
Yeah,
for you doing that aerial, like I'm sure you were like, okay, yeah, I did it with a spot, I did it with the one hand, I did it on here, and just like building that foundation, building the confidence little by little. And I love that. Yeah, and just telling yourself every day, like, okay, I'm winning, I'm winning. And that's an important lesson for everything, for everything. It's just those small wins, right? Every day. I love that.
yeah. I think like any sort of sport, I think that you do can give you parts of this, but I think there's such a focus on goal setting and the feeling that you're constantly growing and improving that I think is just such a valuable mindset to have, both
Hmm.
inside and outside of gymnastics.
Exactly. In sport and outside of sport, there's people in this community that are moms or dads or, um, you know, starting a business or, studying or whatever it is that they're doing. We have to recognize those wins every single day, like wins as a mom. It could be like, wow, I didn't freak out today when
Yeah.
my kids were freaking out.
No,
I
that's so
took
true.
my deep breaths instead. That's a
Yeah.
win. That's a win, every day recognizing the wins. You know, I didn't freak out when someone cut me off or at the light. I wasn't like beeping at the guy in front of me when the light turned green, like
Yeah.
I instead took a breath and just enjoyed waiting for one more second, and so yeah, recognizing those wins every day, I think, like you said, is so 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 important.
Yeah, I think I had, for a lot of my gymnastics classes, I would after I got home, I would write down, like, "Here's what I learned today. Here's what I need to remember
Love
for
it.
next time. Here were drills
Love
that we
that.
did that I could do on my own maybe." And, like, just those little reminders and being able to soak all of that in because I feel like in a class,
So important.
you're getting
Yes.
so much. Yeah.
Yes, that's so important. I love that you said that. So I made it's called the Adult Gymnastics Training Journal.
Mhm.
Basically, you can get it on Amazon, but it's like a training journal, and it has exactly that, what you just mentioned, like your training goals, how you felt that day, and you can literally
Yeah.
just track every single day. And yeah, that's so important. Do you ever go back and read some of your trainings and some of your
Yeah, a little bit. I kept it in, like, a certain spot in my notebook, and I think for me, it was more the action of writing it down, like, I'm someone who needs to write things down to remember them, so that was
totally
helpful, but, yeah, I think also reminding myself of that progress was really helpful to go back and see, like, here's what I was working on then, here's what I'm working on now, that's always really nice a really nice reminder.
for sure. We do something at our retreats called the Badass List, where we get the group to um, write down a list of reasons that make them a badass, and it
Love
could be
that, yeah.
anything, it really could be anything. It could be from their entire life, like they won, the spelling bee, and like it really can be anything. No one is right, but it's just going back to that list whenever you need to, whenever you're down, whenever you're feeling unmotivated, whenever you don't have confidence. It's like going back, reading that list and being like, oh shoot, like yeah, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did it, and this huge
Yeah,
list of things that you've accomplished, and it reminds you, like, I can do things. I am a badass. I can, you know. So I love that. I love that you did that.
yeah.
I keep doing that. Keep like journaling or writing down your trainings. Yeah, keep doing that. That's great.
Yeah, I feel like
So
this totally whoop, sorry, my internet paused for a second.
so tell us about what are your gymnastics goals? Where do you go from here, Ilana? What's next?
Yeah, so one of my goals, I've been competing with the club team at my university. And one of my goals is to compete on all four events. So far, I've only competed on two. So we're going to see if we can get there this upcoming year. Another goal, I did start working on back tucks recently. That was a big, like, that felt like something I couldn't even start working on for so long. But that was really exciting just to get in those first few drills. And to get more confident with beam tumbling.
Nice. Amazing. Amazing. Can you think of um, something that outside of your gymnastics training, like in your work or school or personal life, can you think of, I don't want to, I guess I'm putting you on the spot here, but maybe thing that you've taken your gymnastics training, like that fear, breaking things down, and, applied that to uh, for school or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are so many things that came up in this conversation that applies to like the work that I do. I'm in school to be a mental health therapist. I think there's so much of the self-confidence and the goal setting that I think I can really take into like my work with other people. And I think also just confidence in terms of like showing up to a space where I don't know people or going to a new workout class that used to be something that was really intimidating for me. And now it doesn't really phase me because I think I feel able to, you know, pick something up and, work on it and take feedback and grow. So yeah, I feel like there's so many ways that those kind of lessons apply.
Amazing. Well, especially with your studies and what you're going into, like
Mhm.
mental health, social work, I think it's so important that you've been able to like experience this for yourself. You've been able to confront those fears, right? And, you know, surpass them and overcome them and work through them. And I think that will be very, very helpful in your future career, like as a social worker or working with mental health, because that is so important to understand yourself. Yeah, that's amazing. I love that.
It's
Well,
just that it's never too late, I love meeting everyone and hearing, their stories with gymnastics and everything else.
it's amazing. And that's exactly why we're doing this, to hear everyone's stories. You never know who your story can help, who you can inspire. And we want to get as many stories out there and as many people involved with this great sport, and also just moving, learning to move your
Yeah.
body and gain strength, gain confidence. And the
Mhm.
gymnastics community, the adult gymnastics community, it has blown me away.
It's so
They are a
lovely, yeah.
supportive, amazing community. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons that you have stuck with it. Um,
Mhm.
what is your why? What is your why? Your reason for doing this? What is your number one why? And I like asking this question.
I feel like it doing gymnastics really makes me appreciate, like, what I'm able to do, with my body and also just with hard work, like, that feeling of accomplishing a goal or that feeling of doing a flip of some sort, it really just it's very empowering, and also being surrounded by people who are cheering you on and all working on their own goals.
I love that. So to break that down, I think if you would say your reason, your why is um, to constantly be putting yourself in a position where you're kind of forced to grow and learn, right, and
Yeah.
face those fears, and then surrounding yourself with a supportive group of people that will help you
Mhm.
along the way. I love that.
Yeah, everyone's always willing to help each other out. We end every practice by going around and sharing what's one thing you are proud of yourself for today. And
Yes,
I feel like it's just such a wonderful way to, conclude the practice and everyone's really cheering each other on, even though we have such a wide range of, skills and things that people are working on. Um, I feel like that's present in so many adult gymnastic spaces.
it really is. Yes. Well, Ilana, thank you so much. I've enjoyed listening to your story it really truly is amazing how someone can just start gymnastics in their adult years, and just because they want to, because they want to
Everyone should do
step
it. Yeah.
fear, right? So yeah, everyone should do it. Is there anything that you want to leave with our audience? One final message or a final note before we end off?
Say, like, it's really great just to do something for yourself, and, if you have any interest at all, you can really start anywhere, and everyone will be really excited to show you the ropes and, like, be there for the start of your journey, so, yeah.
Amazing. We love that. Well, thank you very much. You have been listening to the Adult Gymnastics Podcast. We have been with Ilana Cohen, a master's student in Pennsylvania, and we are excited to watch your continued progress and your journey. And maybe one day we'll have you on one of our retreats that we host, and we would love
Yeah.
to learn more about how you're continuing to step into your fear. Alana, thank you very much for being here, and please share and continue to do what you love and share this empowerment message. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to chat with you.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.